Hello, everyone. This is College Coaching Network. It's Friday.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
it's
Thursday. Look,
Thursday. Yeah.
Ambassador Club Live. Woo. Let me get into
Right.
it. All right. So today we're actually going to talk about the world of investing. So as we know, our founder and CEO, Clyde, is a numbers guru. This is totally his lane. But we definitely want to talk about investing because one thing that I know, I've looked a lot in the media now, and a lot of the younger generation is truly getting into investing in stock and also cryptocurrency and all these exciting things that can really build Forex that can really build generational wealth. So I think that this is a great time to have this conversation because how we can invest and how we can turn things around is a point of conversation that you are literally seeing everywhere. So I'm going to turn it over to Clyde so he can dive in and, as I have questions, I'll chime in as well.
Yeah, all good. Let's start it out the first maybe 5 or 6 minutes, just kind of talking through some taboos, some things that are out there that some people don't really understand. And so the first thing is this: like when people come to me, let me first of all do two things. Give you my disclaimer.
You're breaking up some, Clyde.
Okay, let me make sure I shut this down real quick. I got like too many windows open.
Okay, it sounds better now. Yes.
All right, that'll work. All right, so go get my disclaimer. Go get a licensed financial advisor. I'm going to show you today as the law, and that you're going to take what we tell you, and you immediately go do. Right, go seek legal counsel, financial counsel before you make any final decisions. So I want to make sure I do that. The second one is I want to talk about the mindset of investing, because a lot of times when we talk with people, because I'm a licensed financial planner, people don't understand why they're investing. So I got a good friend of mine. I'll say his name. Hello.
It is breaking up again. It sounds like
Am I choppy?
It keeps going. When you do that, then I think maybe if you lean in some, but I don't know. It's choppy.
We're gonna get through it. So am I choppy now?
I can hear you now. No, I can hear you now. Good.
All right, perfect. So I got a good friend of mine that reached out to me, and he said he has some money that he wants to invest. I said, okay, that's good, but he doesn't. When I tried to ask him why he was looking to invest money, he was just like, I want to make more money. So I want to first start out on the why, right? Like when you invest money, there's a reason why you're investing this money. So Nika, you are a young lady, and eventually you want to retire, right? So if you're putting money into an investment, what are some reasons why you invest money?
So some of the reasons why I invest money, I want to retire early. I do not want to have to wait till I am 60, 65 to actually retire and fully enjoy life at my own discretion. So that's one of the reasons that my husband and I personally invest. And then also we have the mentality to create generational wealth because I really want to leave an inheritance to my children and my children's children. That's part of the legacy that we endeavor to leave with our kids.
So that, which I love. So the reason why you invest is more important than understanding how to invest. I'm gonna make sure I say that again. The reason why you invest is just as important, or actually is more as important than the tactical how to invest. And this is the reason why. Some of the sayings that we hear all the time as investors is pigs get slaughtered. Pigs get slaughtered. That means that if you're being greedy and you're trying to make too much money from an investment, then what will happen to you is you'll actually lose money because you're trying to ride the wave all the way up when you should have been taking just a small amount of the profit or portion of the profit and then getting your money out of the market instead of riding it all the way up. So I want to really hit that part because a lot of people have issues with understanding why they're investing. And so let me walk you through just a couple of things on the investment side before we jump into the tactical part on the stocks that I want to show you guys some crypto and all the things that are out there, right? So there's different ways when you talk to a financial advisor that you probably want to ask some questions. So I want to give you some ammunition. Go back and listen to this video because this is something that you really need to hear, and you're probably not going to hear it very often. So if you talk to a financial advisor, the licenses that they hold will determine the amount of financial advice that you receive. So let me talk about that. So Mika, if you're talking to a guy that had an insurance license and that's all he had, what kind of advice do you think you're going to receive from him as far as solutions to your investment need?
Just insurance. I'm not going to ask them about other stuff if you ain't got the credentials for it.
Right. So when I first got my license in the business, the only license that I had was called a life and a health license. It was just an insurance license. So every time I talked to somebody, regardless to if they needed money with buying stocks, bonds, mutual funds, any of that stuff, I couldn't really make any recommendations to those products. Because guess what? The only license I had was a life insurance license, right? And so if they came to me at that point, they were only getting one small part of the solution. Now, these are the licenses that are out there. You have a life insurance license. That means that you can do an annuity. And I'll talk real quick about what that is. Kind of like a pension plan. So if you put money into, and we don't have them often anymore, but people that work for the government, they're school teachers. A pension is a company that's putting money up for you as an employee. And when you retire, they're going to pay you a check the rest of your life. Right? So my mother, parents, and stuff like that, they've had those accounts. Those accounts that people love having them, but you pretty much are a dinosaur if you have one. You just don't see them very often anymore. So annuities is what life insurance people have. They put you into those products. They're fixed. Most of them have a lot of guarantees, and they pay you lifetime income. Now, the other thing they can sell you with life insurance is a life insurance policy. And so you can have a variable life insurance policy, but you have to have a different license for that. Or you can do a universal life or a whole life policy. I'm going to stop there. Am I making sure I'm explaining this? Because this is my world, but I want to make sure I keep it at layman's terms. All right, cool. So a life insurance policy, there's companies out there that do whole life. That means they pay you for the rest of your life if you continue to pay into them. And then you have some that are called mutual companies, and they pay dividends. Dividends is they share a piece of the profit with the investor, which is great. We all like getting extra money if they're dividends. So that's the life insurance side. There's another license that you can hold. It's called a Series 63.
Before you jump into
Yes,
that, because I think that the younger generation, particularly, I know that we do have some college students that use our app, may not think of life insurance and the need to have it at this particular age. In your experience, can you talk to that and the importance of it, and also some of the different ways that you can use life insurance even now?
Yeah, I love that question. We didn't even set that up. That was a beautiful question. So the life insurance, let me make sure you understand the product of what life insurance is. Life insurance is the best way to leverage money. Okay. So for example, I can go out today and at my age, probably for like maybe $50 a month, I can actually get term insurance, and I can solidify like $500,000 of term insurance for $50 a month. So what that means is if I prematurely died, I'm paying $50 a month. And if I prematurely die, my estate, my family, my wife and my kids, they get $500,000 of coverage. And all I had to do was just put $50 a month up, right? So it would take me a lifetime, possibly, to try to save, depends on where you work, to save $500,000. But if you can leverage $50 to get access to $500,000, now you've got a layer of protection for your family. So that's term insurance, right? Then you have what's called whole life. Now, let me say this, I'm trying to make sure I'm as realistic to the audience as possible. So minorities, speaking of a lot of us, we don't believe that life insurance is important. And the reason why we don't believe life insurance is important is because we feel like that's something that I'll worry about down the road, or I'm gonna put that responsibility on somebody else. And that's why you see so many GoFundMes and stuff like that, because people don't have adequate coverage, right? And so having life insurance, especially when you're married, is really about legacy. And it's about making sure that if something happens to you, because none of us are going to live forever, it's giving your family another amount of security when you're gone. You don't want your family to lose you and then have to lose their house, lose the community that you live in, lose the friends that you're around, because if you're not in that community, sometimes you don't have access to those people like you normally did. That's a lot of change that you can put on a family if you don't have protection. And for $50 a month, we spend more money on lattes, on coffee, on whatever we're doing, when we need to look at that being the foundation of how we start building wealth. It's not about just going out getting some attractive stock, but the foundation should be, you are a money-making machine, right? You make $80, $90, $200,000 a year, and if you passed away, that income stream is done. Right? And so people need to have protection on. You have insurance on your car, you have insurance on your house, you have renter's insurance, right? Health insurance. Even if you have jewelry, right? You may even have insurance on your ring or whatever, right? I mean, we have all these different layers of insurance, but sometimes we don't believe that we need to put it on us. And everybody that's listening to me, like, you're more important than a house, a ring, a car. Like, you're invaluable, you're unreplaceable, right? So really, really look at that. If you haven't done insurance for your family, or if you need to look at getting an update, I strongly suggest you look into it. Even me listening to myself talk, I'm like, you know what, I probably need to get a little bit more, right? We never feel like we have enough, right? And so that's something that you want to do. But the other thing too is, there's a misconception. So if you talk to some companies, I won't say the name because I don't want nobody to put me in a headlock, but if you talk to some companies, they only believe in the Dave Ramsey approach, which is to buy term insurance and invest the rest, right? So I'm not going to really go heavy into that, but they do offer more than one kind of insurance. Term insurance is a great tool. You can get a lot of coverage for a small amount of money. But if you get to a certain age, let's say you get to 80 years of age, your insurance is going to start going so high that you may not be able to keep it. And what do you think happens to all that money you paid into that insurance policy if you can't afford the increases? What do you think happens to that money, Mika?
It's just gone.
It's a wrap.
Because there was no cash value added to it.
No cash value. So anytime you talk to a company and all they're willing to offer you is term insurance, if you don't just need a lot of coverage for a small amount of money, I'm telling you, you probably want to talk to somebody else, because you want to talk to a company that can be all encompassing and everything. So the other insurance is whole life. Whole life insurance will cover you for your whole entire life. But the crazy thing about whole life insurance is it's permanent, so you never lose it. So it's always going to be there for you for the rest of your life. And the last thing about whole life is you have what's called bank on yourself. Have you ever heard of like taking a loan against your 401k? Okay. So if you take a loan against your 401k, do you know you've got to pay that money back, right? Out of your paycheck. Okay. If you don't pay that money back, then they can send you a bill in the mail, and you're going to now have to pay taxes on whatever your outstanding balance is. Well, with whole life, you can put more money into the policy than what you have to, and you can borrow money against your policy, and you can earn your own interest. So there's a lot of cool things. We can talk about that at another time, but there's a lot of cool things. So you have term, whole life, universal life. Those are the different kind of insurances. I'm not going to go deep into the weeds on that, but that's pretty much how that works. So now let's move over to the next license, because I'm making sure you understand the licenses. You have what's called a Series 63. That means that they can help you with stocks and mutual funds. Now, the difference between, because we're going to look at some stocks, the difference between a mutual fund and a stock is an individual piece of stock in one company. Okay. So let's say, for example, we've heard of GameStop, right?
They were kind of trending for a while.
They were really trending. There's some millionaires made out of GameStop. There's some people that probably lost their shirts in GameStop too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But GameStop, if you own that individual share of stock, that means that you had equity in that company, not in multiple companies, but in that one company, right? So if that price was $200 a share and it went up to $500 a share, you made a lot of money, right? But this is the beautiful thing about individual stock. If you own individual stock for 12 months and you sell it and your income puts you in a low tax bracket, like the lowest one, like 15%, do you know the capital gains on that is zero? Yes, like you can actually be at zero taxes if you know how to play the game and you exit out of that stock at the right time, possibly around retirement when your income may go down. So those are some things that you can do with individual stocks. Mutual funds is not one company. You're buying fractional shares of stock in multiple companies, okay, which is a whole nother animal. So if a person has a Series 7 license, a 63, they can help you execute those trades. If they don't have those licenses, guess what they're not going to talk to you about?
Those trades.
Because they don't have those licenses, right? So the first question, if I'm a consumer, even before I talk to somebody about investing my money, I would ask this question. And I've been in this business for like 15 years. I've never had anybody ask me this question. What licenses do you hold? Yeah, good.
Do you think that it's general knowledge to the public that these licenses exist, that there's certain ones? I know of them because I've been exposed to individuals that are in that world. But I think it could be that no one really asks because do they know? Like, it's common knowledge that for someone to practice in the medical field, you need to be a doctor, right? If you're in law, a lawyer, that they have to be a lawyer. But in this, I think it's one of those things that maybe it's not common knowledge.
It's not, and I love the way that you phrase that about the doctor. So let's go down that rabbit hole for a second. Because this is what happened with my wife. When my wife got ready to have our first child, she went to a doctor who was a general family doctor. Right. Thank you. Okay, so before I even tell my experience, her experience and me going on with the ride, why did you just shake your head no?
Because a general doctor doesn't specialize in labor and delivery and the care of a woman while they're pregnant.
Yes.
It is a specialty. It is not a general thing that occurs.
At all. Right? So this, I won't say his name, but this idiot, at least that's his name today, is idiot. So my wife gets to the hospital and she was ready, and the nurse knew my wife was ready before the doctor did. Yes. Because she has worked with specialists. She's worked with OBGYNs. She's worked with those kind of doctors. So she knew what to ask my wife. She knew just all the signs, right, that was there. That's what she does. This guy is a jack of all trades. So you don't go to a foot doctor to get your eye looked at.
That is true.
You go to what they call optometrist.
Yes, optometrist.
You go to an eye doctor for that. You don't go to a toe doctor when you need to get your eye looked at. You go to the specialist. Guys, when you talk to your financial advisor, you have to ask them what kind of license they hold, because that's going to let you know if they're a specialist or not, or what they specialize in. Right? So if anybody listens to this down the road, please, before you sit down with your next financial advisor, ask them, can you tell me what licenses that they hold? Okay. And the last thing I'll tell you is a lot of those financial advisors that come to your house and they sit there at your kitchen table trying to sell you some insurance, those are the people that are normally just insurance licensed. I'm not knocking them because they got to feed their family. But a lot of the ones that have their securities license and they do stocks and stuff like that, they cannot watch the stock market and be at your kitchen table at the same time. It's just not going to happen. How are you going to be a specialist and you're looking at the market and seeing what's going on and getting people in and out of trades if you're actually at somebody's kitchen table all the time? I'm just saying, right? So those are some things that I can hear. I can go deep in the weeds, but let me share my screen. I want to walk through just a couple of things on this account, and then I can kind of answer some questions. So let me go here and share real quick. And we will have many more of these conversations because I can talk about this stuff until the cows come home. Let me go here. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so there's a lot of different, I'm not going to just make a recommendation that you go somewhere before I used to, but you can just Google where it says, make sure I'm saying this, like stock simulation accounts. And I'll put it in here after I get through sharing the screen. But you can Google stock simulation accounts or free stock trade accounts, something on that line. I did find that this was a pretty great resource, webull.com. And because a bull market is when things are going up, a bear market is when things are going down. So just to give you an idea kind of how some things work. So let's say, for example, I want to look at a ticker symbol. And I think I talked about this before, but I'm going to quickly go ticker symbol. So I'm going to go ticker symbol, GameStop. So a ticker symbol, everybody, is kind of like a identification code for a particular company. So their ticker symbol is GME. So I'm going to copy that over. Now that's kind of like
the trend.
Exactly. Yeah. You see the trend on this thing though? It's crazy. Like, all the people made money up here and then you can see it trending down, 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 down. So do you think you're making money in the stock now?
No. Not
even close. So if you're getting in on GameStop, that ship has sailed. Maybe a little bit too late for you on that one. So I'm going to put the ticker symbol that I copied in here and see, there it is, GameStop. So now I'm going to click on that and then it's going to bring GameStop in here. So you can see the open price. That's when the stock market opens in the morning, the high, the trade volume, and then you can see the 52-week high, right? And it's going to give you the 52-week low and then the price earning ratio, which I'm not going to go deep into that weeds, but you can see all those things that are kind of out there on an individual stock, right? So I'm going to come out of this one and go back home. So those are some things that you can do to kind of look at the trades that you're interested in. The thing that I love about, let me log back in here, about when you invest in stocks is you really don't have to have a lot of stocks that you track. I would say find about 3 to 5 stocks or industries that you like. Like if you wear a lot of Nikes or a lot of Jordans or whatever, like trade that stock. If you go out and eat at Chipotle all the time, find that stock, right? If you like to go to Walmart and get a lot of snacks, I mean, like trade stocks and things that you're interested in. And then what you can do, like when we look at the 52-week high, you can kind of look at the high and you can see, okay, well, the 52-week high on this was 398.12. And so this here is, I don't know what SPY is. It's an ETF. I won't go into what ETF is right now. That's just way in the weeds. But the open is 394, so it's basically right now trending a little bit below the 52 week. So let's say if we see this stock is jumping down to like 388, then we may want to buy some stock at 388 and then turn around and try to sell it at 396 and try to make a little bit of money between the spread, and then put that cash back into your cash account, and then just watch the stock and see if it drops back down under 388 or 370 or what have you. And that's how people do what's called swing trading. They'll buy stock and just kind of wait for it to kind of swing back up. And as it goes back up, they'll sell it, and then they'll make their profit, and then they'll just take that money and put it into their cash account, and then they'll wait for it to kind of move again. Does that make sense?
It does. So I have a couple questions. One, how old do you have to be in order to trade on the stock market? And then two, I know there's been big talks about the ease of being able to trade stock now from the different apps such as your Robinhoods and, you know, some of the others. So how do you have to be, and what are some of the most simplistic ways that a young person that's interested in getting involved with learning the stock market to be able to really kind of submerge themselves and kind of learn?
Yeah, so when I was the VP at the bank, the youngest investor that I think I had was 21. So I've got to go back. I don't want to say something prematurely, especially live, on the youngest age you can be. But a lot of times, if there were kids that were like 13, 14, what have you, their parents would basically open up an account with them, and then they would work with their child to help them make those trades. Gotcha. So as long as you're kind of in tandem with your parents, you know, I think you'll be fine to kind of go under that umbrella. But I'll do the research, and I'll put something out on our page to kind of talk about the youngest age. As far as the Robinhoods, we're going to have to put some more information out on that too, because Robinhood is a great account. But if you're looking to do options trading, and man, I don't know how deep I can go into this in 3 minutes. So options trading is like GameStop. You can do what's called a call or a put. And so to make sure I say this as quickly as possible, a call is I'm taking maybe, let me say it this way. Let me make sure you can try to get it. If I have a house, $100,000 house, and I put 10% down, that means I put $10,000 down, then that means that with $10,000, I get the opportunity to move into a $100,000 house. Okay. Now, if that $100,000 house in 5 years goes up to $150,000, I only took $10,000, but that $10,000 allowed me to control a $100,000 asset. And so if that $100,000 asset goes up to $150,000, then I just took $10,000 and it created $50,000 worth of additional equity because I was controlling it. So an option allows you to take a smaller amount of money and control a bigger size of a stock contract, right? Because I'm not going dollar for dollar or buying a fraction. The only thing about it is options expire. There's an expiration date on those. And if they expire and you're not profitable, the money that you put down, that $10,000 in that example, could actually be what you're going to lose. Okay. And so but if you bought a stock and the price goes down, you still own the stock. So if the price goes down, you can hold the stock and pray and hope that it goes back up. But if you own an option, once that option expires, you're done.
Gotcha.
Either you made money or you lost money. But there's been people that put options on GameStop, and they did not a call, but they did a put. And so a put means that you're betting that the price of the stock went down. So as the price went down, there was people that was making puts on that GameStop, and they made a ton of money on the price going down, not just going up. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Yes. So those are some things that you can kind of look at. So in conclusion, make sure I go here. We'll come back and go deeper. But if you go out here if you choose to look at this Webull account, you can see that you can put your top stocks that you want to kind of track here. You can look at the market advancers and decliners. You can see like what they're exiting at as far as the last price, the change in value. It's giving you a great snapshot of your top gainers, losers, IPO offerings. So companies that are trading on the New York Stock Exchange or IPO, initial public offering. Then you can come in here and look at the hot industries, ETFs. Again, we can talk about that later. Your cryptos are out there. So if you're into cryptocurrency, you can kind of trade all those, and you can see, I mean, they're refreshing right here, real time, right in the system, and even Forex. So if you want to go into different areas of looking at foreign exchange, you can kind of go into those. So it's a great resource to tap into. A lot of young people have been asking me a lot about getting involved in stocks, so I want to make sure I did something. So I will be sending this video out, but we're going to go a lot deeper into it. And as we go more deeper into it, we may look at creating a college coaching network investment club, just so we can kind of educate you guys on how to get into the world of investing. So I am going to digress and see if you did that make sense? Because Lord knows I can go into this stuff all day long, and sometimes we can talk about it, put people to sleep. So I want to advise in you.
Yeah, no. It does make sense. Look, I know enough to be dangerous. So I'm learning more of understanding the language. My husband is definitely more, that's his vein in our, he handles our investment portfolio and he does well at it. But I definitely feel like for every student out there, this is an area that everyone needs to learn enough so that you can know if you're being taken advantage of, one, but also learn and connect with someone to be able to allow your money to work for you also, because this is an area of wealth that is available, but a lot of people don't take advantage of it. So I think that having this type of conversation, although, like you said, it is one of those ones when you're dealing with numbers and all of this that people may be like, oh, this is boring. But guess what? This is the kind of boring that'll take you to the bank.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate you having this conversation with the students. I know that we'll be able to follow up and even be able to actually show them some practice trading. That's something that we've talked about before as well. So thank you for sharing your knowledge on that. And I'm sure something was said that's going to help someone, because we all need multiple streams of income in order to get, to fulfill those dreams and retire before 65.
Yes. And I want to say this in closing, Amanya. When you get into the world of investing, don't get in with the mindset that I'm going to make a lot of money quickly. Get into the world of investing from a position of education. You want to learn, and learning principles, strategies, things that you can replicate is more important than making money. Because if you understand how to make money, the money is going to come. But the education is more important than just trying to say, hey, I made $1,000. It's not, because you may have got lucky. There's some people that bought GameStop and they became millionaires and they don't have a clue how it happened. They just got in at the right time and they took it and they were in the right place at the right time. That's not a solid investor. That is gambling. And I'm not talking about gambling. I'm talking about educating yourself so you understand how to do something that you can replicate and teach to generations in your family. Right? Mm-hmm. So those are some things I just want to leave with you.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another College Coaching Network Ambassador Club Live. We will see you again next Thursday, same time, same place. Again, we hope something was said that will help you. Enjoy your day.
Later.